Hey, BooTube. This is my part 2 video to my Walking Dead one. Hang on, wait. Walking Dead, The Walking Dead, Season 7, Episode 8, titled Heart Still Beating, which is the mid-season finale of S7E8, which is the first half of Season 7. I left off with Aaron finding a note with a drawing of a middle finger. Sorry, I just flipped you all off. And it says, congrats for winning, but you still lose. And I'm actually questioning who actually made that. Whoever had these supplies in the houseboat, I'm questioning if it's actually a savior, or maybe someone from a different group, or just a solo person in general, because it does sound like something the saviors would do, that note anyway, but I can't just make that prediction. I'm only thinking it might be a savior because it seems like something a savior would write and leave behind. At the same time, hang on. Garbage man. Sorry about that, guys. That truck was louder than I expected. But anyway, where was I? Daryl. Oh yeah, Daryl, hears the saviors leave the hallway and seizes the moment to flee the apartment, but not before pretty much messing up Dwight's apartment and destroying all his card figurines. Mainly for revenge, right, Daryl? Good job. That's all I gotta say to him is good job. But anyway, Rick and Aaron get to the houseboat to the shore on the other side and manage to load a cargo truck nearby with all the supplies they found, right? You know, Rick's telling Aaron how Michonne feels about the deal with the saviors, saying, you know, Michonne doesn't believe that it's living, right? She doesn't believe that doing this for Negan and the saviors is living, even though they're living in an apocalypse, you know what I mean? And Aaron says he knows that they're doing this to stay alive. He gets it, right? And, he probably does agree with Michonne that it's not really living what they're doing, but it's the only thing that's keeping them alive. And that's what I love about Aaron, you know. He gets Michonne's, feelings about it, but at the same time, he gets why Rick's doing it, because he knows it's the only way to keep any of us alive, because if we don't, we're gonna lose more people like we did with Abraham and Glenn. And so as they're finishing loading the truck and preparing to leave, we see a mysterious someone in mismatched boots. Like, if you wonder what mismatch means, the person's basically wearing boots that don't match. Like, for instance, I could be wearing, like, blue boots on my right leg and red boots on my left leg, and that's mismatched, right? So there's someone with mismatched boots watching them from across the pond. I don't know who this person is. I most likely will have a separate video about who I think it is. But, yeah, that will be a separate video. But anyway, Michonne, remember, she manages to get a hold of a female savior that she abducted at a gunpoint and forces the woman to drive toward Negan's compound. This female savior is apparently, her name is Isabel. And, Michonne's all trying to ask Isabel why she's all alone in the woods, but she doesn't answer her, right? And, back in Hilltop, in their trailer, Sasha tells Maggie that the resident's daughter thinks that Maggie should run for president of Hilltop, right? And while that happens, Maggie asks where Jesus went, right? Because remember, Sasha, I think, asked a favor of Jesus to check out Negan and the Savior compound and all that stuff, but not to tell Maggie about it, so Maggie has no idea. So when Maggie asked about Jesus, because she wanted Jesus to pick up some school supplies for the children at Hilltop, Sasha pretty much lies to her, saying, oh, he left for a supply run that morning. And, Maggie leaves to go get some milk, while Enid calls out Sasha for lying to Maggie because, I think maybe, Enid saw Jesus already leave. Probably I think that's why she called out Sasha for lying about Jesus leaving in the morning. I can't remember, but I think Enid might have saw, Jesus leave at a different time than what Sasha told Maggie. And, she pretty much is guessing that Sasha sent Jesus out to pretty much find a way to kill Negan, right? And, you know, Sasha's all telling Enid, do not tell this secret mission to Maggie. Please do not. Just keep it to yourself, right? And, the reason why is because Sasha knows that Maggie would do anything in her power to try to help, but she can't do that because she's pregnant. She tries to do something strenuous, it will risk the baby and herself, right? But anyway, back with Carol, Morgan, and Richard. Richard pretty much reveals his fear to Carol and Morgan that he doesn't think the kingdom should coexist with saviors because the saviors are dangerous, right? And he believes because of that, they will inevitably destroy the kingdom. Everyone will die in the kingdom if they coexist with the saviors, right? So, basically, Richard is asking Carol and Morgan to convince Ezekiel to strike the saviors first before the saviors kill them. And, I don't blame that. Like, I don't blame him for being scared of the saviors trying to take over. But unfortunately for him, Carol refuses to help Richard and insists that she just wants to be left alone, right? But Morgan, he hesitates because he doesn't want to disrupt this peace with the saviors because he believes, that all they have to do is do what the saviors want. Like, give them what they want and they'll leave them alone. He thinks that it's peace between the saviors, right? That's why he hesitates to stop that. And, Richard, of course, he's sad about this. Carol doesn't want to help. And Morgan doesn't want to disrupt this peace treaty he has, basically, with the saviors. So he leaves dejectedly, right? And Carol tells Morgan to leave and pretty much forbids him from telling anyone else where she is, right? Anyway, back in Alexandria in the church, Gabriel urges Rosita from refraining from attacking Negan because he pretty much figured Rosita's out for revenge, right? And he pretty much recommends for her to wait for that right moment to take him out so the community can take him down together. So basically, he's not saying, please don't kill Negan. He's just saying, wait for the right moment to kill Negan. So it's not just you killing Negan, it's the entire Alexandria community together, right? And, back in the Savior's compound, Daryl flees down the hallway and manages to grab what he could use as a weapon, which is a pipe. And, what else? He manages to escape the building, and unfortunately he runs into Fat Joey. Remember Fat Joey's that one dude that was pretty much kind of, in a way, a little mini right-hand man to Daryl? He's the one that gave Lucille back to Negan when Carl visited the Savior compound. Fat Joey, of course, he's scared for his life because he sees Daryl escaping. Daryl's very intimidating just looking at him compared to Fat Joey. And then, Daryl has a pipe, right? And Fat Joey, he tries to surrender and pleads for his life, right? But Daryl just bludgeons him to death right when Jesus finds Daryl in the midst of the bashing. And, it's like, we gotta go. Get these motorcycles. We're leaving this compound, right? And just before they leave, Daryl notices that Joey's gun is actually Rick's gun, his most favored gun, which is the Colt Python, which is the gun that Rick's always had. And apparently Joey had it. So he takes the gun and then hops into a motorcycle, or Daryl and Jesus leave the compound, right? Anyway, back in Alexandria, Spencer dresses up in nice clothes and pretty much rehearses in front of a mirror for his meeting with Negan. And even grabs a bottle of liquor, which I'm guessing is like a little bribe gift to Negan. Pretty much, I'm guessing he's trying to butter Negan up in his own special way, right? And it's like, you stupid. But anyway, Spencer stops by Rosita's house and reveals that he's planning to get close to Negan. So when he gets close enough, he could strike against him at some point in the future. So that's pretty much his plan, which is kind of a brilliant plan. But, not gonna lie, I feel like something's going to go wrong. And Rosita agrees to join him for dinner afterwards, which I think is pretty funny because Spencer's always been not really hounding, but semi-hounding to, because he's been interested in Rosita, and it's funny how she finally agrees to join him for dinner. I think is hilarious. But anyway, Richard, after dejectedly leaving the little cottage Carol's in, we see him enter a hidden camper trailer hidden in the woods, which I thought was really interesting how he managed to get such a secluded little hiding spot, which obviously has stuff because he had like milk bottle and stuff like that in there, and I'm kind of curious how he managed to get a hiding spot like that. From that, I'm not sure if Ezekiel even knows about this little hiding spot. Anyway, hang on. I'm sorry, guys. I was having a sneeze attack, and my eyes are hurting me. But anyway, Spencer. Walking to Rick's house and introducing himself to Negan like an idiot. to the point where Negan actually shares a drink with Spencer on the porch. And he's all like, I wish there was a pool table here. And Spencer's like, oh, there's a house across the street that actually does have a pool table. We could play, right? I was like, you're so stupid. Spencer, what are you doing? This is not sounding like it's gonna go well. It sounded like a brilliant plan, but judging by the way Spencer's doing it, it doesn't look like it will. But anyway, back to Michonne and Isabel. She stops the car, and the women can see like hundreds of saviors gathered in the distance. And Isabel tells Michonne that an attack on Negan would be pretty much pointless because look at all these saviors. There's hundreds of us. We are all Negan, apparently from what she's telling it, and tells Michonne to shoot her and get rid of the car, which basically we see Michonne do pretty much. The camera pans out to a far shot of the car and you basically can see a pfft, right? So Michonne does in fact do what Isabel asks and shoots the woman and gets rid of the car. Rick and Aaron finally arrive back to Alexandria only to be surprise greeted by the saviors who inspect all the goods that Rick and Aaron brought back. And as the saviors are unloading Rick and Aaron's cargo truck, unfortunately, that note that Aaron found in the houseboat, the one that says congrats for winning but you still lose with the middle finger, apparently Aaron brought it with them because the saviors found the note in the cargo truck as they're unloading it, and they're enraged because they believe Rick and Aaron made the note as an FU to them. And basically one of the saviors beats the hell out of Aaron, believing the note was intended for them. And Rick tries to intervene, but unfortunately is stopped by the two saviors, Gary and Laura. And Gary pretty much joins that savior, David, in savagely beating poor Aaron. And I'm like, oh, Aaron! And as Gary and David are finished beating up Aaron, Rick helps him up and you know, Aaron's like, I'm okay, my heart's still beating, right? So Aaron's such a trooper. Even he got accused. Him and Rick got accused for sending that note to the saviors when they're the ones who found the note and got beaten up for it. And he's still a trooper. Aaron, I hope nothing happens to you right now because I actually like you, which sucks because every character I like ends up dying. But anyway, Negan and Spencer, they're playing pool in the middle of the street because apparently they got the pool table that Spencer was talking about and they moved it from the garage of that one house to the middle of the street, and they're all playing there in the middle of the street, and all the residents are gathering, watching, and Spencer tells Negan that Rick's ego is out of control, and he proposes to Negan that, hey, why don't you appoint me the new leader of Alexandria instead of Rick, because Rick is just out of control. And, you know, Negan's considering Spencer's betrayal, but at the same time, he points out that Rick is swallowing all his anger for Negan, and is still doing what Negan wants him to do, which is gather goods for him. To protect everybody so Negan won't kill anyone. And he's like, you know what? The fact that Rick is swallowing all his anger and hate for me, and still doing what I tell him to do, so he could protect his people, that takes a lot of guts. You're just sneaking around trying to betray Rick, and you're asking me to do it instead of killing Rick yourself. And he's like, at least Rick's got guts. You have none. And while he does that, he manages to plunge a knife into Spencer's abdomen, pretty much disemboweling him. And he's like, oh my god, you actually do have guts. They're inside you this whole time, right? As he's joking around about it, Spencer's guts is spilling out on the asphalt and instantly kills him. Rosita ends up being one of the saviors that was watching them play pool, and she is pissed off. So she takes out the gun that she hid and shoots at Negan. Unfortunately, it doesn't hit Negan. Instead, the one bullet hits Lucille instead. And Negan's just pissed. He's like, shit, what the shit? You just tried to kill me. You shot Lucille, right? That one female savior, Arat, wrestles Rosita to the ground, holds her at knife point. Negan picks up the bullet casing, noticing it's homemade, and he demands to know who made the bullet, and Rosita's like, it was me, I made the bullet. Presses her cheeks against Arat's knife, cutting her own face. Negan doesn't believe her, so he orders Arat to kill someone. I really thought it was going to be a nearby person, but unfortunately, Arat just turns around and does like a long shot all the way to poor Olivia. Olivia and Carl were on the porch of Rick's house, and she gets shot in the head by a rock. Anyway, I'm running out of time. I'll see you in a part 3 video, okay? Bye.